Hey DIYers, what's up? Mike Boards with the Mike Boards channel. Thank you for watching. We're talking Mercury, outdrive, or stern engines, and in the event that you are looking for the right tool to pressure test your upper unit or lower unit, we're going to show you what we use, and we love it. Let's take a look. All right, DIYers at the workstation now. This is our Craftsman 6-foot workbench, and down below in the comment section as well as the description section are video links on how to assemble this bench, as well as add the drawers and install a swivel vise. All very helpful videos. However, to the pressure test gauge or tool here, check that out. It's got the gauge on top and you can hear it, and it's got a braided fitting right here. We'll talk about that here shortly, and a pressure release lever, which is awesome. And this is a Marine Tech, and here's the address, phone number, and email. This unit comes with a threaded filler nozzle installed, which fits several manufacturers. In our case, we have a Mercury or Mercruiser outboard. That's the upper unit that we will be pressure testing. We just rebuilt the entire inside of that unit, from seals to U-joints to drive shafts to gears, etc. And down below in the comment section as well as the description section is a link where to purchase this. And over to the instructions, it is just one page. That's all that came in the package. Read the warning: do not allow any petroleum-based oil to enter the pressure or vacuum tester, as the internal seals can be damaged. That would not be good. That's the last thing you want. Step number 1, after draining the lower unit as you normally would, install the clear hose adapter into the upper oil hole and the drain plug into the lower hole. And in our case, it came with 3 fittings here, and you'll notice this little beveled tip here is what feeds into this fitting here, as you can see. And I will give a better close-up here shortly on how that works. However, open up this bag here, pull out all of the connections, and go to your upper unit, and very, very carefully screw in the fitting that is a perfect match for yours. And whatever you do, do not cross thread as you feed this fitting inside your unit. And that is a perfect fit. So this is the fitting we are going to use. And on the actual inner portion of the fitting, on the thread or the base of the stud, is a O-ring, and that is rubber, and that helps create the airtight seal for the proper testing. And back to the instructions. Step number 2, pressurize to 15 psi or pull a vacuum to 15 inches of mercury to check for leaks. And on that note, although it says that in this pressure gauge's instructions, I always recommend referring to your exact serial number service manual to ensure that you are getting the proper pressure test reading or PSI per the manufacturer. And in our case, once we refer to our service manual, it is between 6 and 10 PSI. So in the event that we shot it up to 15, it probably wouldn't hurt anything, but if we went over that, maybe 20, 25, it will definitely cause damage to the internal seals that we just replaced, and we definitely do not want that. Those are brand new, and we want them to work perfectly after we put everything back together. And a couple service tips: do not use any type of petroleum oil or aerosol spray lubricants. We just talked about that in the warning. And number 1, if the pressure vacuum tester requires lubrication, use vegetable-based oil such as Crisco, Mazola, etc. And number 2, if the pressure vacuum tester fails to hold pressure, check the hose clamps where the hose is attached to the adapter at the pressure vacuum tester. If the hose slips when rotated, you may need to replace the clamps if they cannot be tightened further. So what I want to do now is reposition the camera and talk more about this fitting. All right, DIYers, I changed camera angles, and again, I'm going to open up this. And all that's inside this bag, again, is your 3 fittings, and you've got 2 little tie straps. We'll talk about that here shortly. And you'll notice these are rather large compared to my upper unit Mercury or Mercruiser engine. Check that out. Big difference in size. So out of the 3, my upper unit calls for the smallest in diameter. I'll set those back in the bag, and I'll set those aside. And again, the small fitting will connect on this portion that's already secured on the braided portion of the fitting and locked in place with an Ordiker clamp. And you'll notice this fitting is basically spring-loaded to the rear, and all I have to do is screw this portion into the upper unit and then bring this portion to the upper unit and feed it onto the fitting. And as you push this, you'll notice this fitting right here locks in place and creates that airtight seal. Check that out. And to release it, grab one hand on each side here and carefully pull the outer housing rearward. And I'll show you one more time. That is in and locked, and to release it, just like that. I'll set that aside because what we have to do now is secure this portion of the hose to this braided fitting. However, before that, I'm going to carefully spin the gauge around so you can see it. I'm going to use my finger and seal off that braided fitting, and I'm going to press the trigger once, and you'll see the needle begin to register. Check that out. And again, this pressure release lever, by pushing that, you can hear it and see the needle drop. Check that out. I'll do it one more time. Pretty cool. That is awesome. So from here, what I'm going to do is carefully feed this portion of the hose onto that braided fitting. And it's going to be hard. And that's by design because it needs to create a solid airtight seal. And just be careful as you do this. You do not want to harm the hose itself. And DIYers, I'm not kidding, it takes some friendly pressure. And I'm almost to the base of the fitting, just a little bit longer. And I'm now to the base of the fitting. And what I will do now is I will use one of these tie straps to go around here to add one more level of secured measure to this fitting and hose. And again, all I'm doing is wrapping that around and really get that on there. From here, I'll just snip it away. And that is what it looks like. Really nothing to it, DIYers. And again, DIYers, that's all I did. And that is on there. That braided fitting really helps secure that hose in place. And again, here's a closer view of the pressure release. You can see that right there. Pretty cool. And inside this fitting right here is an additional O-ring that helps create the airtight seal that this one does when it mates with the internal thread of the upper unit, as shown right in there. And again, our fitting specifically is the smallest out of the three, being a Mercury Alpha outdrive. And here is our schematics or diagrams of the upper unit and all the parts, including gears, bearings, seals, U-joints, shafts, etc. DIYers, we have been busy. And with that said, that's all we wanted to talk about in this video. In the event that you want to see us pressure test the upper unit using this exact kit, definitely check out the link scrolling above. We will pick up right where we left off and properly and safely pressure test the upper unit. Now, as you can see, our lower unit is not connected to the upper unit. That is right over here. And we will be rebuilding the entire lower unit as well. And at the very end, once we connect the lower unit back to the upper unit, we will do an additional pressure test. And for your convenience, that will be down below in the comment section as well as the description section. Definitely check that out. However, from here, again, DIYers, thank you. From here, do us a favor, below the video, you will see that thumbs up icon. Click on that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Definitely ring your YouTube bell. That would be very helpful to us. We would really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you at the next video. And one more thing, DIYers, not sure if this will be helpful, but the gauge on the right-hand side is the PSI reading. On the left-hand side is your vacuum. Just wanted to show you that.